and still a colleague in ways. Jay is the vice president of technology at Vembu Technologies, and he's been dabbling with a lot of cloud stuff for the last few years. I think the interesting thing for a lot of you about this panel is that I think almost everybody, correct me if I'm wrong, has been doing some cloud stuff for the last 3 or 3+ years, right? So we've actually got a panel of what you could call early adopters. Okay, most of them have been doing something or the other with the cloud. I'll let them introduce themselves, just give you a quick overview before they give you more of the gory details. So Jay is with Vembu Technologies, Raghu is with 8K Miles, right? So obviously he's from 8K Miles. No, he's not, okay. Right? So Raghu is with 8K Miles. We've got an interesting mix of product, services, platforms, and everything over here as well. Again, they'll tell you a little more in detail once they tell you what they individually do. But 8K Miles has a pretty good grip on the ecosystem since they facilitate, I'm going out on a limb here based on what he told me, okay? Since they facilitate interactions between service providers and customers. So they sort of created an ecosystem where someone who wants something cloud can get someone who does something cloud, in a cloud ecosystem. So they've sort of got their finger on the pulse on what kind of demands are coming in from customers and what kind of resources are available to cater to those demands. So they're in a pretty interesting spot there. So I think you can tap into a lot of things on what's hot and what is in demand and what kind of skills they see a lot more in demand and stuff like that, right? Jay does a product. They do a Vembu Home, Vembu Pro services. These are data backup services. So if you want anything cost related, because if they're selling a backup service at, say, $3 for a certain plan for a month, they've got to make sure that they're making money on that. So they're obsessed with cost. I can tell you, I've been on the inside there. Right? So they're obsessed with every single cent that they can save. So if they figure that a certain rerouting translates into about 3 cents of savings, there's a party that day. Right? So anything cost-related, money-related and stuff, Jay is a good guy to ask on that. Prasanna is pretty good for all those AAS acronyms that you think of, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, all those things. And now that the Amazon person is not there, you can also ask the questions about non-Amazon stuff because their platform facilitates, working with different cloud platforms. So they are aware of Azure and Google App Engine and of course AWS as well, which is the bulk of their work. Right? So they've got a product that facilitates a lot of that, and they're also sponsoring this event, so be nice to him. Yeah. If you're on LinkedIn and you want to find out all the cloud groups that you need to join to know more about cloud computing, go to Eril's profile. Okay. Last year, he was the 2nd ranked blogger as far as cloud computing goes. And he's got some 35 different cloud groups of which he's a member. So just go there, Control-C, Control-V. Okay. But more seriously, I mean, he's sort of there in the intersection of services and products because CSS/support has a product, Cloud Buddy, right? And they've got another product as well. They also do services. So they've got an interesting perspective from both angles as well. So you've got a lot of interesting profiles here. They'll tell you a little more about what they exactly do. So let's just grill them, yeah, make their life miserable, okay? So start with you.
All right, thanks. Yeah, I mean, as I said, my name is Edil Arasan, and I work for CSS. In CSS, we have a R&D division, which is called CSS Labs. And we predominantly, do research on the new age technologies, such as cloud, mobility, and things like that. And cloud being the focus for the last 3.5 years, we have created various tools, solutions, and services using the cloud technologies, which is really, paying us a lot in today's business conditions and scenarios. And some of the product that he has mentioned in terms of Cloud Buddy, Personal, we have a retail version of it. Like probably we're going to be the competitor of some of your data backup offering that you have. Primarily, the way that we work with this, we don't directly sell those offerings or services directly to the market. Rather, we go on a retail mode, and our core market is in the US and the Europe region rather than in the India. And we've recently come up with a platform called Tech Support for Dummies by joining hands with the Dummies brand. If in a Java for Dummies, the same way we've also come with Tech Support for Dummies, which is our core strength. Tech Support is our core strength. And the entire platform that is required to do this tech support services is hosted on the Amazon Cloud Platform. So we've used almost, I would say 6 to 7 different building blocks of Amazon Cloud to come up with this tech support for dummies services. That's a brief. Probably now I can start answering your questions and I can explain about me more. Thanks.
I'm Prasanna. Like Lakshman said, I work with Orangescape. Just to give you a background for the the people who are new to the whole thing. The cloud computing means different things to different people. There are a lot of things. There are a lot of vendors. They do give you different services, and based on the services, it needs a different set of hand-holding between the consumers of the cloud service and the providers of the cloud service. If the hand-holding needs to be perfect, otherwise people just say cloud doesn't work, because that's just because of the fitment and the use case may not be right for the particular vendor. So if you need to understand and make a decision as to why and what service you need to consume from the cloud, you need to look at it like they have the layers like infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. You can think of them as the levels of freedom. Infrastructure service is at the basic level. I mean, I just came to know there is a level below that. There are data center vendors where you can just rent the rack space or you can build your own rack. So that is at the basic level. And you have infrastructure service providers like Amazon, where you just can rent an instance. And because of the freedom, with freedom comes the responsibility. If you are going for a Linux machine, if you want that level of detail, you need to be a Linux guy. You need to know how to manage a Linux system, how to start and stop processes, how to manage things. So the whole thing is the game of abstraction. The next level is the platform as a service. Somebody comes up and says, I'm a Python guy. I just want to develop the application in the Python, and I just want to upload, and I need it to work. So that's one kind of abstraction. And then comes companies like Orangescape and Force.com, which gives you a more sophisticated tool, which gives you an abstraction over that Python or Java, or that you might want to call it a geeky stuff, or which they don't want to deal with. So, and above that comes the application itself, like the CRM, the Salesforce.com, or a FreshBooks, which gives you that invoice application and other things. So, I come from a company which is called Orangescape, which gives you the platform as a service. And if you have any doubts on how to limit yourself from the need to do something. Okay, I just want to do this. I just want to consume this. What to do? Which one to choose? I'll be able to answer you. Right. Thank you.
Thanks, Prasanna. So I'm Jay from Wembu Technologies. We have been developing a product called StoreGrid as a SaaS software. Like any MSP or a VAR can actually use our software and provide a backup service to their customers. So when we actually started giving out this software and selling this software to the service providers, we also found out that they are a little bit hesitant in actually using the software and sell it as a service to the customers, because the need for the capex, the need for investing more money in the service they want to host. So when AWS Cloud came along, we actually were pretty much excited to actually use the cloud and provide an image or a software which the user can actually just take it out from the internet. They can host it on the cloud, and they can start selling the service. So that's what we initially did. So we provided a public AMI which they can use to provide the service and everything. So we faced a lot of challenges in actually providing this AMI. Providing this AMI as such that it is cost effective also to the service provider who is hosting the service, as well as it's cost effective to the customers who are using that service. So that's where we started, and then based on those experiences, we have already hosted a consumer-based backup service, Wembu Home, with that, and we have launched a Vembu Pro for businesses to use the service. And this Vembu Pro service also deals with the same resellers or same partners who are actually using our software to sell the service. So now they are reselling the service itself rather than this, reselling the software. So that's how it has grown. And we have touched AWS in EC2 or S3 or the recent RDS and everything. So I will be able to nitpick and give some kind of points on how to use this, how to use an EC2, how to secure your EC2 instance, how to actually enable integration with EC2 and S3 and EC2 and an RDS instance, those kinds of small and little bit of tidbits which you would like to know, and how to proceed in actually migrating some of your software, because our software was an offline software which was ported to the cloud. So based on our experiences in doing that, you can also learn. Thanks.
Thanks, Jay. My name is Raghu. I work for a company called 8K Miles Web Services. So 8K Miles is a remote software development service it's a marketplace where you find service buyers and service providers. One side, service buyers have requirements which they want to get done by hiring remote workers. On the other side, you've got service professionals who can offer different kinds of services, be it a freelancer or a freelancing company. So on top of this, we provide infrastructure from the cloud. So for a complex project that you would like to execute with a remote team, so if you would require project continuity and IP security, you can hire distributed teams and execute the project remotely over the infrastructure delivered from the cloud. And the marketplace provides end-to-end from the entire software development lifecycle, from your development till testing till production. You can host it onto the cloud. So that's a primary business of 8K Miles. So later down the line, we found that a lot of people do not know how to move to the cloud, and there's a lot of gap. They have heard that cloud is going to benefit them in terms of cost and infrastructure. So we started the consulting practice where we help our customers move to the cloud and migrate the solution to the cloud. So that's just about what we do. So our infrastructure which we provide on the marketplace is built on top of AWS Cloud, and we abstract AWS Cloud to our customers where they don't have to know the intricacies of AWS Cloud in terms of what you saw, EC2, S3, all those things are abstracted to our customers. So what they would do is just go and look up a stack called LAMP or Windows over Visual Studio or something, and just subscribe it, and everything from your backup to recovery to monitoring solutions are built in the backend, and it's abstracted to the customer. So that's a solution that we built on top of AWS. And on a consulting practice, we move our customers to AWS. So we've been working with AWS for about 2.5 years now, one of the early adopters. And we almost used all the services of AWS. So that's it. Thank you.
Okay, no, I'm not running away anywhere. If something like 14 man-years of Amazon cloud experience is not incentive enough, we've also got some t-shirts and some surprise gifts here. There are some 8 Orangescape t-shirts. All this is courtesy Orangescape. There are 8 Orangescape t-shirts, and there are 2 Orangescape guys who are not wearing the t-shirts. There are 10 t-shirts here. So if you ask a particularly decent question that it sort of adds value to everybody else, or if you ask the second, third, fifth, seventh, or 11th question, prime number question, you get a t-shirt. Basically, there's no logic